Today I want to show you how I upcycled an old vintage suitcase using Sonnet's Curated Maker's Box and some Iron Orchid designs. In this month's box, we've got a bunch of the fabulous Painted Photographers decoupage papers, along with some exclusive papers from Roycycled Treasures. I am obsessed with this one. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's really cool. I did use the other one in this one, so stay tuned. You also get some paint samples from Debbie's Design Diary and Fusion and Sweet Pickins Milk Paint.
Just like we're addicts, I kinda like it like that.
We're going to be using Miss Lillian satin varnish, and this is what I'm using for a decoupage medium. This suitcase, this is the suitcase. It's one of those hard ones. I've used this 1,000 times, and I've always thought this is so ugly, but it could be so adorable. So I painted this already with white. I like to use white under my decoupage papers because then it makes the papers pop better. If you use a dark color under the decoupage paper, it's gonna muddy the decoupage paper and make it darker. And in some instances that's okay, but this is not. We want to use white. So we did a coat, and you don't even have to have a perfect coat. This is basically just one coat of white, and we're gonna just decoupage right over it. You're not gonna see these streaks. I decided instead of cutting the paper, I'm using a small paintbrush with water to tear around the edges. When the paper is wet, it will tear really easily. You will get a little bit of unevenness, but I really like that better than a cut edge because it looks more fibrous, or I don't even know how to explain it. It just looks more natural than having a cut edge. And then I'm going to take the paint and blend around it so you won't be able to see that anyway. I'm using Miss Lillian's varnish to lay down my decoupage paper. I always use varnish. I never really use Mod Podge, but I sell varnish and it works really good. So I spray it with water. Oh gosh, I just saw Theo walk by. Oh, I can't take it. My little sweet puppy just walked by. I remember that was the last day I had him here. Anyway, yeah, it just threw me off. But yeah, you lay it down and then flatten it. You can use plastic wrap or a brayer or an old credit card or gift card or something to flatten it out. But I didn't really need to. This paper is just flattening out perfectly for me. It did take a couple tries to get it straight around the edges, but it is working really well. And then once it's flat, you just let it dry. This video should have been out a couple of weeks ago. I'll try really hard to get back on track. As some of you know that follow us, we had one of our dogs pass away. He was part of our family, little Theo. He was a Pomchi. We had him for 17 years. Today's probably the first day that I've actually been able to even talk about him without bursting into tears. But I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys. I really do. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate your patience. And I want to say too, I appreciate all of the love and support that you've given us, because I announced what was happening with Theo, and I just had so many people reach out to me and tell me that they were praying for us and that their hearts were with us, and they were thinking about us, and we just really appreciate that. I really love this heat gun. It dries my projects faster. I can get a project done usually in a day as long as I have my heat gun, because I'm super impatient and I don't like to wait around for things to dry. I'm going to be using the IOD Charlotte stamp. This stamp is so pretty. It has so many cool elements to it. I love the girl's pretty face on it, and the teacup and the paint brushes and the bird. It also has cogs. It's really cool. I think it even has spoons and it has a spoon, it has bees. Anyway, it also comes with masking, which now the masks have the designs printed on them, which makes it really easy to know what you're looking for, because before they didn't, and I always had a hard time figuring out what I was doing. So the first time you want to use your stamp, you'll have to take a piece of like 220 grit sandpaper and sand it. That gets the shininess off the stamp, and then it helps the paint or the ink adhere better. Here I'm going to be tracing around Charlotte's face. And then I'm going to use the color called Lichen. It's kind of a sagey green. It matches the paper really well. I'm going to use that as the background of her face before I stamp the stamp down on it.
And no, I don't like to be the bad guy. You know I don't lie, I really miss you now. But I had you where I wanted you, never had to ask. I'd set the world on fire just to get.
And here I'm going to be using the IOD black ink with a ink pad. I have those on my website if you want to try them. They make stamping really easy and you get a really sharp image. You just put your ink on the stamp. I'm using the plastic that came with the stamp. I put her on it, laying it down right over the area that I painted with the mask. Then you want to hold it with one hand, press it down with the other hand, because you can't let it move around, because if you do, it is going to smear. So here I'm doing the same thing up in the corner with the cogs. I'm painting it in with the lichen, and then I'm going to stamp over this area too. If I would have been thinking about it, I might have done the cup or something as a hat for her. It didn't cross my mind. I had other things going on during this time, I guess, and I really kind of wish I would have done that. But in order for you to use like something that's going to go on her head, you have to put it down first before you put her down, because you want to use whatever's going to be the top layer always has to go first. So you're basically doing it backwards than what you would really think you'd be doing it, if that makes sense. The colors that Sonnet chose for the maker's box of the fusion paint especially are perfect for blending these papers. This one is called Wellington. I'm putting a coat down of it because the bottom coat of whatever you're layering when you're blending decoupage paper doesn't really matter what you're using, honestly, because you're going to be layering up, and so you basically want to get some paint down. It doesn't matter what color. I'm using the Wellington because it matches really well, and then I'm going to go back over it and stipple some of the lichen over the top of it, and it actually was so simple and looks so good. Like, look at how perfect those colors go. Good job, Sonnet. I guess what I'm trying to say is you're building up the paint. You want it to be thicker, and so it doesn't really matter what the bottom coat is. So if you're experimenting with paint colors, that's a perfect time to do that. And here I'm just blending in a little bit of paper where I probably tore it or something. I really don't remember. Now that I'm editing, I probably tore it, but it worked out just fine because these colors are so good. Then I'm going to just blend in around the top of the suitcase with the Wellington and the lichen, and I'm just using one brush and sort of just stippling it in and mixing them together. Like sometimes I like to dip half my paintbrush in one color and half my paintbrush in the other color. and stipple it or pounce it or whatever, and it just seems to sort of blend itself. I'm sealing the entire thing with a satin varnish. I'm using Miss Lillian's again. Same thing I used to decoupage. And I do feel like she needs something else. Maybe some bubble gum in her mouth. But now I'm working on the back, and I'm using the scraps that are left over from the piece of paper that I used on the front. And because this paper has so many random designs on it, it was super easy just to patchwork in. And so thankfully I had enough that I could do that. And I am pretty happy about that. And I think I want to put some words on it. And I know one of the questions that everybody's going to be asking is where they can get this paper. And these papers are exclusive to Sonnet's boxes. And so they are not for sale. So if you want to get any of these special design papers that Royce is doing for Sonnet every month, you're going to have to subscribe to her box because you just can't get them. And I really love this one, and I really love the other one too. And I'm sort of sad that I can't just buy as many as I want. Now I'm just going to be blending in the rest of the suitcase, and this was the same process that I did before with using the Wellington and the lichen and just blending it in. And if you're not liking how it looks, it's super easy to fix because you're just going to keep layering over the top and just keep layering it until you like it. That's what I do. I decided to write "Let's get out of here" on the back of the box, and I love that. I think it looks so cute. But I'm using the Kissing Booth, which is Debbie's Design Diary DIY paint, and it was in the box that came last month from Sonnet, and I had tons left, so I thought that would look really kind of cool over the suitcase, especially because I'm doing pink bubble gum in her mouth on the other side, which I forgot to film, but sorry about that. If you want to see me do a letter stamp tutorial, just say down in the comment section below and I'll do one for you.
Since I left you, and no, I don't like to be the bad guy. I won't be surprised if I'm the last one now. But I had you where I wanted you, never had to ask. I'd set the world on fire just to get it back. I don't know how it feels to be someone you love, and it gets me down, down, down. Yeah, I had you where I wanted you, never had to.
I wanted to just darken the letters in a little bit with a paintbrush. I didn't think they showed up as well as I wanted them to. And these stamps are a little distressed looking, and so I just filled in the letters a little bit with the Kissing Booth and a tiny little paintbrush.
I let it slip somehow. So this is 27. Start the music, kill the silence. Let my mind rest. Pour a drink 'cause it's effective. Can't seem to get my head around.
I wanted it to have just a little bit more color, and so I decided to use the Chock's Lemon Gold pigment powders with the Chock's infuser. And so when you mix these together, it makes a really pretty gold paint that is almost as brilliant as using the gold foils. I love this stuff. It's so pretty. And I'm gonna just go around the edges of the suitcase with this pretty gold, which I am obsessed with this stuff. And I do have it on my website if you want to try it. You will not be sorry. This stuff is so good. And they have a bunch of different colors, and the infuser really goes a long way. I don't think I've gone through a whole bottle of infuser in the last couple of years, and I use this stuff a lot. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, just put it down in the comments. I will add everything in the description box that I used, and I just hope you try it. It was a really fun project. Anyway, thank you. I did end up adding a little bubble gum to her mouth. I think that's super cute. I hope that you guys will like and subscribe to my channel. I will try to get some videos out really soon. Thank you guys so much for watching.
The last one now, but I had you where I wanted you, never had to ask. I'd set the world on fire just to get it back. I don't know how it feels to be someone you love, and it gets me down, down, down. Yeah, I had you where I wanted you, never had to ask. I'd set the world on fire just to get it back. Don't know how it feels to be someone you love, and it gets me down. I let it slip somehow. I let it slip somehow.
Do another scrape for the left, and then leave a thumbs up.
27. Start the music, kill the silence. Let my mind rest. Pour a drink 'cause it's effective.